Hello, it's Bible Quiz Fellowship Game Day. We're back. I'm Quincy. Who's up there?
I'm Austin.
All right. Who are these other two fellows?
I'm Nate. I'm Avi.
Oh, Austin, Nate, and Avi. We are back. You guys are in Wisconsin. I'm in Ohio. I am sharing the position of many people, I'm sure, who will be following the quizzes along, watching on the live stream where they can, or keeping up with our version of um, MLB game day where you can kind of see what's happening moment by moment, which is a wonderful thing. I love doing that. Um, all right, so you guys who are there are boots on the ground. Is there anything I should know? What's going on?
There was a power outage on Tuesday night, which made the hotel a little creepy, but that was restored 11 o'clock or so at night, so won't have any issues with the quizzing tomorrow.
Oh, a guarantee?
Yeah, we'll go with it. No issues whatsoever.
Uh,
Yeah, there's a little bit of
Name it and claim it.
there's some light
famous,
airs last night.
famously, pride does not go before a fall. Nate, anything you've noticed?
Well, we weren't here yet when the power went out, but there must have been some kind of light error that happened, and that's why the power went out. So
Did they
hopefully we
put
don't
three
have that
seconds back
happen.
on the clock or?
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good. Good.
but no, our group got here pretty easily with just a quick 3 hour drive from TFC. So we got here this afternoon. Our rooms weren't quite ready yet, but that can tend to happen with larger groups like what we had, and I imagine the power outage had something to do with that as well. But um, it's really great. We they made the comment that the ballroom that we were in, the rally that we're in tonight, was very full, standing room only, and they're actually going to have to use Site 2 as like an overflow room for additional people because last time we were here in 21, it was just 29 teams, and this year we got 42, and so we've outgrown ourselves at this location, it seems. So hopefully we can have that problem continuously. It's a
Absolutely.
good problem to have. So.
Yeah. And Austin, are you alive or?
I'm here. Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing for me going into this tournament is the excitement that is here with the number of teams that are here. I mean, the room, the energy is there, everybody's ready to go, and it's going to be a wild time.
Good. Yeah, 42 is a great number for teams. I mean, it's as anybody who's read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy knows, it's the answer to everything, but also
Yep.
it's a great number for teams. So, all right. Well, we usually do a preview of the round robin for Thursday, so I picked out some quizzes. When you're at home, especially, but also when I'm there, I would like to check in and see kind of measuring stick quizzes to see where teams are and what to expect. So some ones that stood out to me. I said three, but I actually wrote down six. But um, there's 9 a.m. Right off the bat, side 11, Riven, Dead BC, and Messengers. So just just kind of an interesting place to see what Messengers is going to bring. And then I'll just mention a couple here, and you guys can chime in. 10:45, there's a couple quizzes that are interesting to me. In Site 3, CB Squared from Iowa, Third Day from Family Life, and Zenith from Summit. That'll be kind of an interesting measuring stick quiz to see CB Squared and Third Day. And usually Family Life's top team, though they kind of split their quizzers between a bunch of different teams. So, but should be a good team. And then 10:45, Site 12 also is the first meeting of Riven and Revelation. And of course, Rem
Won't
Door.
be the last.
Yeah, right. Rem Doorknobs, who I'm sure will put up a fight.
Remarkable.
What's that?
It's remarkable doorknobs. They
Oh,
couldn't put their whole name on there.
yeah. I assumed it was short for something, but it wasn't clear in my notes. But remarkable doorknobs. Well, that sells it. It reminds me of when I would coach teams and you'd go into a quiz and you'd be facing like the uh the remarkably astute llamas or something. and you'd be like, okay, we'd probably be all right this quiz, and then suddenly they'd be like a really good team, like because usually you don't pick those kind of names if you're like a really good team, but sometimes. Any thoughts on
Beautiful
those quizzes?
ostriches.
Yeah, that could be a good top 10 list that you could come up with is the best Nationals quiz team names or most unique quiz team names.
Yeah,
See
I
what
might have to
come up
call
with.
on you as our quizzing historian to give me a list, but yeah, there have been some good ones. Um, okay, well, any thoughts on those guys? Any thoughts on those teams and what you've
Well,
heard?
I think the overarching theme for this nationals is going to be it's a short book year, and that really leaves it wide open for anybody to be on stage, to do whatever they're going to do during round robin on Saturday bracket quizzing. I think about a team like Messengers who classically keeps their errors down, and CD squared as well. Some of these teams like that can stay out of error trouble will be able to do whatever they want in the second half. And so when I look at every matchup, that's the thing I'm thinking about is you have an opportunity at this tournament, but also in this quiz. So let's see what you can do.
Nice.
Yeah, I was going to say that with like just go off what Austin is saying here with the short books is you'll have teams where the quizzers will have all the material for a lot of the top tier teams and even some of the second tier teams as well have quizzers with all the material. But then you also have quizzers on, let's say maybe the third tier, fourth tier, whatever the level they're at. They may not have all the material, but they'll have one or two books. And if they're jumping on, let's say Galatians or on Ephesians, and their goal in life in quizzing is to win a jump on that book, they may just have a little bit of an advantage over someone that may have all the material and they're not necessarily having to jump on every single question in the quiz because hey, I can take any
Yeah.
question, any jump I want because I have it all. So the teams that have people that only have one or two books, they may be a little more aggressive in those quizzes and potentially could, sneak out in front in some of those quizzes that they aren't expecting. So that's something that I have hope for with my own team and other teams at our level. It's like we have people with just a couple of books, and they're going to be trying to win those jumps as much as they can, and hope that can maybe surprise some people.
And Quincy, to be a little less general here too, on that first quiz, Riven, WC, and Messengers, I think you think of Riven and Messengers as being the teams to watch there. But this is, correct me if I'm wrong, year two of Minnesota, Wisconsin, blending our teams instead of separating them into two leagues. So Dead BC being the fourth team there on the short book year, also being coached by Jason Blackford, who typically is not coaching our fourth team. He's coaching one of our top two teams. He's got a lot to offer that team. And I think they're going to be competitive in any quiz that they're in.
Especially if Riven and Messengers get each other into trouble, that's where you can see those other teams jumping in. The third team in the quizzes with two strong teams is going to always have a chance with all the errors that can be found out there. My highlight quiz was sorry.
No, go ahead.
My highlight quiz is 10:15 a.m. in Site 7. You have Kingdom and Riven. And if you remember back to Kansas City Regionals, Kingdom won in the first round robin quiz by 120 over Riven. So that will be an interesting a measuring stick quiz, like you said, to see where Kingdom is at, where their nationals acumen is at to get acclimated to it, and then to see how they carry that through the week.
Yeah, and the ministry for Kingdom.
That's Student Connection. That is out of Iowa or Nebraska.
Oh, it's the Dorns group.
Yes, it's the Dorns group.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with the acronym, so I was curious to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Dorns are great folks, and they coach good quizzers, and everybody, of course, there is great. But people who don't know much about them, I'm sure that's a great point. That'll be a good quiz to pay attention to. Yeah, interesting background. And thanks for explaining that. I know that from personal experience. When I had a nice group of kids that I was coaching and working up to go to nationals, I circled the year that we were going to get these books because I knew that that was the year that we could absolutely compete with anybody. And we finished
Mhm.
seventh. We were, inches away from making the championship because it is an equal playing field in a lot of ways. So just like you guys said, the smaller ministries have a good shot in years like this, which is fun. A couple other quizzes, 145 side 11, Moxie, Called, and Warriors. So I'll be paying attention to that one, see kind of where Warriors is and Moxie, and see what Called's all about. 3:30 in Site 1, Astonish, Messengers, and Restoration, which sounds like maybe Restoration is the second team from the Student Connection.
I believe so.
Yeah, all right. So that'll be interesting to see where they are. Astonished and Messengers. Messengers has a tough schedule the first day. They popped up on a lot of these quizzes, so it'll be a good chance for them to see kind of where they are and get their feet under them. And then the last time slot of the day is Site 1 again, Warriors, Clay, and Zenith. Just kind of see where Warriors and Clay are and get a measuring stick of where the summit teams are. So those are some quizzes that stood out to me. Anything else for you guys or thoughts on those ones?
Yeah, it's Site 2 that last round. Astonished is getting two pretty tough quizzes to finish off Thursday, Messengers and then Riven. So that'll really be a little test for them, a mini Saturday.
Yeah, good way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, Syrian on Astonished tends to always do this, where during the early season tournaments, he kind of seems like he's in the background, scoring some points, but then he comes and to nationals ready to go and ends up in the top 20 quizzers every year. And I know he's a busy senior, and there's other people contributing into that team for sure. But I'm of the opinion that Astonished is going to come out strong, even if maybe we didn't see that in some other tournaments. So I'd be excited to watch those quizzes.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be astonished for them to come out strong at this tournament.
Um,
I wouldn't be astonished because on the way up here, we went through about 11 or 12 of these teams that could feasibly and almost any of them could make stage. And
yeah,
I think that's the most parity we've seen just throughout the group in a long time. Having so many teams that it's like, oh, absolutely, they could totally make stage.
Yeah, and like Quincy alluded to, it's a short books year, and
that makes it even better.
opens it wide open for a lot of teams. A lot
yeah,
of ministries have that opportunity, and we want to see that. We want to see parity as best we can. We can get a little tired, maybe some of us, of seeing Riven, Revelation every single year in the championship, Moxie. You know, it's good to have that variety. I mean, those individual teams, they might want them to be in the championship every year, but yeah, of course, and that's fine. But to see other ministries get involved or at least having a shot at it, I think it's a really good encouragement to those ministries to see their teams up there, and then the other quizzers from their ministry see that and like, hey, that's something that maybe we could achieve at some point in our quizzing career, and gets everyone really excited and motivated, I think, year to year. So it's only good, I think, for everyone for that to happen.
That being said, the top teams you're mentioning, I think they're really strong this year. I mean, we're talking about this being wide open because of the short book year and how you don't have to necessarily have a lot of material to be able to compete. But Riven and Revelation look really sharp this year. I know of one quizzer who has all the material and was able to quote it with less than 1% errors, random, the entire thing in one sitting. Never heard of anyone doing that before. And so I mean, I think they're going to go at it every time they see each other. And when they see some of these other teams, I think that's going to still be the bar this year. Is to say, can you beat one of those two teams? I think that as far as having your material down, having the quizzing experience, and having the level of material knowledge, they're still ahead above the other teams that are here.
Nicely said. Everybody contributed some good thoughts there. I wanted to say, speaking of, other ministries, I didn't mention that Warriors is NCO, just in case anyone had forgotten. And Witness is the team from Youth Challenge. So, be paying attention to what they're going to do. That's always fun to see. I see a few teams from TFC Northwest, Rooted and Anchored. Looks
A lot
like,
of teams.
yeah, Rooted and
And
Anchored. And Eclipse from Bronze Wall. Of course, those are my folks, so excited to see what they can do. Clay from Badgerland, of course. I don't think I mentioned them. And I saw Family Life did real well at the Iowa tournament this year. So we'll
Took it.
see. Yeah, we'll see.
They won it. Yeah.
Yeah, they won the Iowa tournament, so we'll see what they're able to do at the national tournament as well.
Yeah, I think they got 5 teams this year. I think that's the most number of teams I've seen them at nationals in all the times that I've been here. Usually it's 3, 4 teams, but 5 is got to be right up there with the most they've had here in
Yeah,
over
I
5
think
years.
they've had 5 before, but I think that's about the top.
does one of you know which summit team Zenith is, where they're at in the
That's 3. That's 3 for them.
That's the third team? Okay.
Yeah.
Excited to
Yep.
see
And
them.
they made stage at Midland. Midland was a all summit stage.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
they
well,
had a good fight in the last window with Astonished and who was the other team? I don't remember it, but Astonished. It was no, it was the Dorns team actually. It was I just mentioned Kingdom where they were in that last window. And it was fairly tight. I was the quiz master for that. And at the end of the quiz, Zenith, they just had fewer errors. And they managed the end of that quiz really well. So they're another one of those that list of like 12 teams to watch.
Maybe a new kid on the block there with Kingdom, huh?
I'm behind them. I'm behind them. I like it. I like having them having a ministry at their first nationals come out so strongly is really cool to see. And they have great backing in the Dorns and the Iowa group that they've worked with in the past. So it's really
and
nice to see it growing.
and Zenith and Messengers both have pretty tough schedules tomorrow, so that'll be good for them to see where they are and go from there. It probably means Friday's a little lighter, which is always kind of nice too. Yeah, it'll be fun to follow along. Any other names of quizzers that you guys are kind of looking for in terms of all stars?
Josie Dorn, I think, is one to keep an eye on from Kingdom, since we were just talking about them. She looks really sharp at Iowa, and she's always been a pretty fierce competitor. So,
I mean, you could just look at my fantasy team, and that'd be pretty much everyone that I'm, looking out for to see how well they do. I got one of the number one pick for me was Nathan Rosen, only because of he has a really great first name. I think it's probably the best name out there. No, I think he's also a really great quizzer, and I think with being on Witness, and he was not number one at Midland, I believe, and he was pretty decent at Iowa. I believe was it Iowa, or was he at KC? He was at KC.
KC, I think he was second or third.
So doing well at both those tournaments. So looking for good things from him and I think Josiah on his team for Witness. It's the two of them carrying that team along with I think Xander is also on that team. So the three of them are pretty much carrying that team, and they could be up there individually, but I really think Nathan and perhaps even Josiah could be in that top 7 or top 14 conversation for individual.
speaking of another Josiah, I just think that Josiah Price is probably going to come out here and score a lot of points on everyone he faces, no matter what the situation is, as usually happens. So keep an eye on that for top 3, maybe top trophy, maybe. But there's a lot of people who will have something to say about that too.
Mm-hmm.
Someone to watch to sneak into the lower 70s or higher 60s average is from Word in Action. Her name's Sky LeBlanc.
Yeah.
And she has I believe she had a 62 and a 65 over the regional tournaments. And I'm I'm hoping it carries into nationals because she was definitely my sleeper pick for fantasy. Um,
Okay, calm
but
down.
and also Midland, we also partner with Word in Action. They travel with us most of the time, so it'll be good to see them having a really powerful quizzer to watch.
So you're saying your sleeper pick is from the team called Awake?
Yes,
Oh,
Okay.
my.
Now that we have that figured out.
you're the
Everybody,
late night guy.
everybody looking to set their quizzing lineup on FanDuel tomorrow now got a special tip from Avi.
Yep.
I'm your guy.
Monopoly money only, though. Just got to be
Yeah.
clear.
Yes, let's be clear. There's no money.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no money involved. Yep. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate the insight. Looking forward to hearing how quizzing goes and following along from a distance. We'll check in with you guys the following morning.
I do.
All right.